Welcome to JGI JCE Connect revision classes on modern interface design. We were discussing the fifth module, that is window layout tests. So in the previous video we have already discussed topics such as the four types of tests, what are prototypes, different prototypes, evaluation mechanisms, and then in this video we shall be looking into what are the various testing techniques, right? So basically test is a tool that is used to measure something, right? So this something may be like, are we able to meet up with the requirements, or it may be a measure of, it may be a mechanism of measuring, are we able to meet the guidelines for a good design, or it can also be performed for identification of design problems, ease of system learning, and retention of learning over time, and it can also be used to measure the speed of task completion along with the speed of need fulfillment, and it can also be performed to measure the error rates and the subjective user satisfaction, right? So these tests can be created and applied with a purpose by making use of several mechanisms like observation, comparison, like listening, and by measuring, right? So by observation we mean to say that most of the tests may include some sort of observation, such as watching the user's performance tasks, or an evaluator, or an inspector reviewing or evaluating the aspects of a system. Similarly, in case of comparison, the interface can be compared with standards, guidelines, and usability requirements, right? And it may also be compared to evaluators' knowledge and experience concerning the qualities of the good interface. And similarly, listening can also be used as a tool for test, such as the users may often be asked to provide comments or opinions concerning the usability of the interface, right? So listening may sometimes be informal, such as being a response to a question, or maybe more formal when collected from listening to an audio or a video recording, right? So then, and responses may also be gathered by the questionnaires also. And sometimes measures can be taken to ascertain how well an interface complies with the usability requirements, right? So qualitative values such as time to complete a task or number of errors can be collected to test the interface, right? So there are several testing techniques, and each one's level of sophistication may differ, as well as the cost associated with these techniques are also different and may also be different. And these techniques, or various different design techniques, include guideline and standard reviews, heuristic evaluations, cognitive walkthroughs, think aloud evaluations, usability tests, classic experiments, and focus groups. So I repeat, these testing techniques are standard guideline and standard reviews, heuristic evaluations, cognitive walkthroughs, think aloud evaluations, usability tests, classic experiments, and focus groups, right? So we start our discussion with guidelines and standard reviews. So guidelines and standard review is an inspection of an interface's navigation, its screen design and layout, and the accessibility in the context of organizations, standards, and design guidelines, or some governmental standards. So, a checklist summarizing the system's standards or guideline document is prepared, and then it is used as a basis for performing the comparison. So, if the interface fails to comply with the guidelines and standards, then it may require sufficient amount of modifications to be done in it, right? So the advantages here is the software developer can perform this kind of test, and it also incurs low cost, and its ability to identify it has an ability to identify recurring and general problems, right? And it is useful when identifying the screen design and layout problems. But the disadvantage here is the review tends to be static in nature, therefore, it may miss some severe conceptual, navigational, and operational problems. So, therefore, the next testing technique is the heuristic evaluation technique. So, in heuristic evaluation, interface specialists study the system in depth and look for the properties they know from their experience may lead to problems, right? They try to look into the properties of the system, trying to find out the problems depending upon the experience that they perceive, right? So the interface is judged for its compliance with recognized usability principles and heuristics. So this evaluation is also referred to as inspections or expert reviews, right? So the advantage here is it is relatively easy to do, and its cost is fairly low, and it does not waste the user's valuable time, right? It can also identify many usability problems. But the disadvantage here is the evaluator must be trained and he must possess the user interface expertise, right? So, and it's very difficult to find the evaluators who possess this skill, because there are very few evaluators with these skills, right? So therefore, the next one here is the cognitive walkthroughs. So the cognitive walkthroughs, in a cognitive walkthrough, developers or users walk through an interface in the context of representative user tasks. Individual task actions are examined, and evaluators try to establish a logical reason why the user would perform each examined action. And then the actions are compared to users' goals and knowledge. Followed by it, the discrepancies and the problems are noted and analyzed, and the tasks are modified as necessary. So, walkthroughs require that the task definition methodology must have been properly accomplished in the system's requirement analysis stage itself, right? So, the user's goal and assumptions must also be clearly defined before a walkthrough is performed. Okay, so the advantages of walkthrough are it permits a clear evaluation of task flow very early in the design process and before an empirical user testing is possible. So therefore, the earlier design flaw that can be detected, and it can easily be fixed. So they can also be used to evaluate alternate design solutions, and they are and the cost associated with performing walkthroughs is very less, and they can be performed by the developers themselves. and they are also more structured than heuristic evaluation, and they are less likely to suffer from subjectivity because here greater emphasis is given on to users tasks. So walkthroughs are very useful for assessing exploratory learning and first time use of system without formal training being needed, right? So a cognitive walkthrough also has a set of disadvantages, like it could be a tedious process to perform, and it may miss inconsistencies and recurring general as well as the recurring problems. And and it is found that cognitive walkthroughs are able to detect far more problems than that actually exist when compared to performance usability testing, right? So therefore, moving on to the next one, that is the think aloud evaluations. So think aloud evaluations in think aloud evaluations, users perform specific tasks while thinking aloud, right? The objective here is to get the users to talk continuously. All the comments are then recorded, so all thoughts are captured and subtle points are not missed when the analysis is performed, right? So this kind of evaluation utilizes the actual representative tasks and gives valuable insights into does the things why the user does things, and because the users are continuously explaining what they are doing, the concentration and focus on the task can be improved a lot, right? So similarly, the disadvantages may be such that it may be difficult to get all people to think aloud because some may find the process to be totally distracting and unnatural, and may also increase the task performance time and reduce the number of errors that would occur in normal working environment. But talking while working may also lead to more exhaustiveness than simply working, right? So the next one is the usability testing technique. So in usability test, it tries to evaluate an interface under real world or controlled condition. That is, specific tasks are performed by users and a measure of performance are taken, and the results are compared with previously defined performance goals. So evaluator here has to gather a lot of data on the problems that arise. Errors, confusions, frustrations, and complaints can be noted and discussed with the users in the process of information collection, right? So it is also useful to have the users talk aloud about what he or she is doing, and the failure to meet these usability design objectives will clearly indicate the need for redesign. So advantages are the usability test may incorporate realistic work environment and the tasks performed in an actual work setting, that is either in a usability laboratory or in some controlled settings, right? Yield a very good result, and a usability test can identify serious and recurring problems, avoiding low priority items, right? But whereas it has some disadvantages, that is, it is most serious problem its most serious problem is its high cost because it needs a very well established facility to perform testing. That is, it requires a usability test laboratory, right? To effectively perform a usability test, it also requires a test conductor with the user interface expertise, and the usability test also emphasizes on the first time or early system use, collecting very little data concerning use of a system by experienced system users. Thus, these tests are also poorly suited to detect the problems with consistency. So there are so these are the four different techniques, testing techniques. Right, we have five testing techniques. We have missed the first one, that is the standards and guidelines comparison. And then we have classic experiments. So, classic experiments is when two or more design alternatives exist, either of which may appear possible is to be compared and analyzed, right? So two or more prototypes are constructed and all aspects except for the design issues that are identical are also taken into consideration along with the speed and accuracy measures and the user preferences to pick the best one. So the advantage of doing this is the objective measures of performance and subjective measures of user satisfaction both are obtained, and which permits a better informed selection of the best alternative, right? But the disadvantage here is it needs a rigorously controlled experiment, and experimental environment is required to conduct the evaluation. So the experiment conductor must also be an expert in setting up, running and data analyzing the data that has been collected. So multiple prototypes may reflect the design issues, and all these design issues must also be considered. So then we have different one more testing technique which is known as focus groups. So in case of focus groups, a small group of knowledgeable users and moderators are brought together to discuss about the interfaces, design prototypes, and also their proposed design tasks, right? So these discussions may be loosely structured but may be focused on more specific topics, right? So the advantage of focus groups is its useful method for obtaining initial thoughts or trying out the ideas. They are very easy to set up and run, and the cost associated with it is fairly low. But the disadvantage here is the focused groups require experienced moderators, and therefore they are not useful for establishing how people really work and what kinds of usability problems people have.